Hello, Bronco fans, and welcome to Broncos Breakdown. I am your host, Bronco Bill. This is Week 10 post-game wrap-up between the Denver Broncos and the Las Vegas Raiders. Before I get into the actual game and the stats and the comments, I want to bring up 3 points that I made in the last video, the pregame of this game, of this football game. 3 points I made were simply these. The Raiders are going to focus on the run to open up the pass. That's exactly what they did. They ran down the Broncos' throat. There's no sugarcoating this, guys. There's no sugarcoating what this Raider team did to a Vic Fangio defense that he prides himself on being a great coordinator. Now, is he calling the defensive plays? I don't know. But if he is, then this team has some serious issues on defense. If he's not, then he needs to start, because that was a horrendous performance against the run. And I'll get into those numbers in a little bit. I also said that Devontae Booker, a former Bronco, will want to make a statement, in which he did. I also said if Denver can't control Booker and Josh Jacobs, it's going to be another long day and another loss for the Broncos. And guess what? It was a long day, and it was another loss for the Broncos. I do have to correct something that I said in the last video. I said that Derek Carr has only averaged 138 passing yards per game. That was a true statement in regards to the 3 previous games before the game against Denver. And the reason why he only averaged 138 yards passing was because they were running the ball successfully, just like they did yesterday. Now, Renfro did have some great catches, and as well as Aguilar. You're not going to stop the Raiders passing. But if they can run the ball effectively like they did yesterday, they don't need to pass. And that's why Derek Carr's average was 138 in the 3 previous games. Now, that being said, before I get into the other numbers of what happened yesterday, I do want to bring you up to an injury to Drew Lock. Drew Lock's injury occurred in the second half. One of the Raider defenders came unabated to the quarterback and a free runner, and he hit Lock in his left side of his body, at his ribs. He was diagnosed as a strained rib muscle, and he's questionable for practice on Wednesday, and he is day-to-day to see if he'll be the starting quarterback against the Dolphins on Sunday. So that's the injury update where that's concerned. Now, let me get to the numbers. And these numbers don't lie. Stats don't lie. Numbers don't lie. And here's the ugly side as to why the Broncos keep losing games. Total yards: Denver 313, Raiders 357. Comparable. It's very comparable. The net passing yards: Denver 247, Raiders 154. Derek Carr only needed to throw 154 yards passing. Why? Because of this next statistic. Net rushing yards for Denver, 66. Raiders, 203. 203 against a Bronco defense that is coached by Vic Fangio. Are you kidding me? No wonder Derek Carr only needed to throw for 154. Interceptions: Denver 0, Raiders 4. Fumbles lost: Denver 1, Raiders 0. When you turn the ball over 5 times in a game, you're gonna lose. And it doesn't surprise me that the final score was 37-12. When Denver is averaging 35.6 points a game giving up, no wonder the Raiders got 37. Not only that, but Drew Lock is averaging an interception every 4.2 passes. He's got to be benched. I'm sorry, guys. he has to be benched. Do we have a better alternative? Well, we have Rippon, and at least he looks and goes through his progressions. Locke doesn't. And when you panic and you get scared, you make stupid mistakes. And that's what Locke's doing. Way too many mistakes. Let me give you another stat. I already gave you the numbers as far as interceptions, fumbles, but let me give you a stat going into the game yesterday. Coming into the game, the Raiders had 3 interceptions and 2 fumbles for a total of 5 takeaways in 8 games. In yesterday's game, they got 4 interceptions and 1 fumble to double their takeaways to 10 in just one game. Doubled? They went from 5 takeaways in 8 games to 10 takeaways in just one more game. No wonder this Bronco team is, I'm sorry guys, they're pathetic. They are pathetic, and we deserve a lot better. Bronco fans deserve a lot better. And that's why this season is so frustrating. But let's go back to 2017. The Denver Broncos have started the season 3-6 for the 4th straight consecutive game dating back to 2017. 3-6. And no playoffs. And no winning records. I don't think Denver is going to win another game this year. With this kind of performance, I don't see how they can win another game this year. We have to play the Dolphins on Sunday, and they just beat the Chargers. And they scored 29 points against the Chargers. If they scored 29 against the Chargers, who knows how many they can score against Denver. But back to the game. There were so many mistakes. Not only just interceptions and fumble, but kickoff returns where you bump into your own guy who's receiving the kickoff and the ball bounces down and is down at the 2-yard line. That's how the Broncos started their first series of the game, on the 2-yard line. Their first 4 possessions, 3 of them were at the 2, the 7, and the 3. You're not going to have too many successes when you start 3 of your first 4 possessions inside your own 10, and 2 of them inside your own 5. And then Drew Lock, with the Broncos trailing 10-6, right before halftime, he runs around the left side on a fake to Lindsey, runs into the end zone for an apparent touchdown. Nope. Noah Fant called for holding. What happens? Next play? Interception. And people wonder why this guy, Bronco Bill, is frustrated and wants major changes. And I'm not just talking about benching Drew Lock. I'm talking about Fangio's job. I'm talking about Shermer's job. I'm talking about Lock being benched or traded or released. I'm not even sure John Elway's job is safe. Because at this point, something drastically needs to change. And I'm not talking about a little, adjustment here or, few draft choices better. I'm talking about an overall focus and direction that this team is. And this fan, from being a fan since 1976, I have never seen a Bronco team in this large of a disarray. Never. And I know that if Pat Bowlen, the late Pat Bowlen, were still here, this would not be continuing. I guarantee it. So where do we go from here? Where does Denver Broncos go from here? Well, looking at the standings, it looks like the Raiders and the Chiefs are going to vie for first place, and both of them are probably going to make the playoffs, undoubtedly. And the Broncos are fighting for last place. And at this point in time, the way the Broncos are playing, they could own that spot. And I can honestly not recall the last time that I saw a Denver Bronco team in last place at the end of the season. And I'm not ready to see it even this year, as bad as we're playing. But I don't have too much confidence and hope and trust that this team will get it squared away and straightened out. Vic Fangio was interviewed today on KOA Denver. And the question was, has there been any discussion at all between the coaching staff and Elway as to benching Drew Lock? And Vic Fangio's answer was absolutely not. We want to see him struggle. We want to see him not necessarily struggle, of course, but they want to see him go through the growing pains. They want to see what they have in him. And they want to see, and hopefully he can come out of this. Well, I got news for you guys. He's not going to come out of this. And the reason why he's not going to come out of this is because he's not listening to his coaches. And if the coaches are directing him to do the right and correctable thing, and he's not listening, then Locke needs to go. But at this point in time, do we salvage the season? Or do we let mistakes and possible injuries and just embarrassment continue for this team? My answer, no. I do not want to see this spiral of a disaster continue game after game after game. Will I still watch every game? Absolutely. I'm a dedicated Bronco fan, and I'm going down with this ship. But believe me, I don't want to go down with the ship. I want this to get corrected, and it needs to get corrected now. Drew Lock needs to be benched. We need to put Rippon in there. We need to bring some type of confidence back to this team and back to the fan base. So my final comment in regards to this whole fiasco. First off, I'm giving Raiders props. They played their game. They came out and they made a statement and they stuck to it. And they absolutely embarrassed the Broncos. But they alone didn't embarrass the Broncos. The Broncos embarrassed themselves. There's no excuses, guys. No excuses at this level. This is week 10. This is the NFL. These are the best of the best, and these are pros. Need to make adjustments. So my final comment is simply this. The Raiders are a much, much improved team, and that definitely shows, especially when they beat the Chiefs in Kansas City. Denver, however, is fighting for last place, as I mentioned earlier. We as Bronco fans, we deserve better. And we will not put up with this team this bad and a laughingstock in the NFL. That's it. I'm done for this week. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. And to all of those comments out there and the views, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. And we'll talk to you on Friday for the pregame of the Denver Broncos and the Miami Dolphins. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.